What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay here to talk some Packers on Bears week as we start to inch closer to game day there on Sunday, going to Chicago to face those Bears, which, boy, did they put up a stinker yesterday. We'll hit on that a little bit. Tim, I opened up this morning. It's a guilty pleasure. I had to go over to ESPN Chicago and just listen to the ranting and raving. And let me tell you something, sir. They are very, very upset that a press conference was not called for the firing of Matt Eberflus. So we're going to hit on all that as we move forward through the morning here. First of all, though, let's do this. Let's kick this thing off right before we give a shout out to our sponsor. I just want to say thank you to all the veterans out there as we're celebrating Veterans Day. Doesn't matter what branch you served in. And listen, I know it gets competitive. I grew up with a brother who was in the Army, right? My grandfather served in World War II in the Air Force. And I have an uncle who served in the Army in Vietnam. And then I have another uncle who served in the Air Force as well. So I understand it gets competitive, but today we take them all. Obviously, we celebrated the Marine Corps' birth yesterday. Let's put them all in one big group today and just say thank you to every veteran out there, whether you sacrificed your life, fighting in battle, or you sacrificed time away from your family, serving our country, whatever your role was. We wouldn't have the ability to sit here in a free country and be able to talk football, which absolutely it matters. It doesn't even matter at all, in comparison to what you men and women do for us on a daily basis. So thank you to everyone who has served or is serving right now. Tim, anything you want to add to that, Bo?
All gave some gave all. Thank you to the men and women of this country that put it out there for us so we can sit here and talk football, talk about things that are nowhere near as important as what you ladies and gentlemen do for us out there. So salute to service. Thank you so much. And you hit it on the head, Clayton. It doesn't matter what branch that you serve in, and that competition is always fun to watch too, because it's always between the different soldiers from the different branches. They like to razz each other.
Okay.
It's all a part of that brother and sisterhood that is the military. So thank you. And I'm like you, Clayton. I have lots of family and friends from different branches. I think we've got everything covered except for the Space Force, which is kind of the newer branch of the armed forces. But thank you to all our veterans out there, and especially everybody active right now on deployment. I got a friend out there serving our country right now. So happy Veterans Day to the veterans.
No doubt about it, man. Very well said. Donovan Schilling in the chat. Happy Vets Day, my fellow service brothers and sisters. And he said, Army is the best, though. So there you go. You get it everywhere you go.
Uh-oh. Where's Bates? Here comes the Marines.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. He's hanging out in the shadows right now. I promise you that, man. Let's see here. I know we had another comment here. Let's see. Holmes kicking it off, right? It says, Bon dia. All right.
Bon dia.
Which is the new official intro for Good Morning Lambeau here as we get cranked up.
This is the official intro.
Good morning.
Oh, man. I'll tell you. Holmes in the chat, too, says, Clay, I did the same thing on the Bears channel. I enjoyed sipping on Bears tears. Thank you for your service to all our vets. And again, thank you to everyone who served. We can't say it enough, and there's no smooth transition away from something so serious and so important, but we're going to try to talk some football. That's why people are tuning in here. But again, thank you guys and gals out there. So yeah, speaking of the Bears, this came down the pike on Twitter at Canthers, maybe Qanthers. All right. Chicago Bears, 19 straight drives without a touchdown.
The Bears still suck.
So the longest active drought in the NFL. This was during the game yesterday. I seen this come across Twitter and said, we'll use that for the show. Tim, Caleb Williams, bro, he's he started to improve, and then it's just like he's falling off a cliff again. And you'll notice he's not really turning the ball over a whole lot. The big thing I notice is just holding on to the ball. It's like one read, let me move around in the pocket and take my eyes away from off the downfield targets is the big thing I'm noticing. I seen Bears fans complaining about the O-line. Listen, they're horrible. Don't get me wrong. That O-line is really bad. But there was several plays yesterday, one in which I counted it off. 6.2 seconds he had the ball in his hand and didn't get rid of it. Like, boys, on average, it's like 2.5 to 3 seconds. It's typically like if the ball ain't out by 3 seconds, you better expect to get hit in the NFL. But the Bears, they definitely still suck, my man.
They, Caleb's doing a lot of what you had said he's been doing all along, which is acting like he's still playing quarterback at USC. This is not college football where you can get away with patting that ball and, hanging around back there, hoping something's going to happen or thinking you can do it with your feet. You got to make that decision in half of that time or less in the NFL. And I think he's just, we've talked about it before, players that, have to transition to the professional level. Some are better than others at doing that. And it looks like Caleb is struggling right now. We'll see. Like you always say, he's got arm talent. We know it's there.
Yeah.
But there's other requirements to play quarterback in the NFL besides having a killer arm. And we'll just see how he develops. But not looking good for them. Feeling good about us coming off the bye, going down to Chicago. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like you said, man, you got to be prepared to play. It's going to be a tough defense. I think that Caleb will give you an opportunity to win that with your offense because of all the extra opportunities you potentially get.
Yep.
I know everybody was tweeting out that famous tweet that he had as soon as they drafted the punter. Hey, man, welcome to Chicago, but you're not going to be punting a lot here. And then they'll put the side-by-side of how many times they've had to punt. So, careful what you wish.
They drafted a punter, right?
Exactly right. So, obviously, we had a big game last night, Houston and Detroit. Man, talk about a disappointing outcome. Anytime you see the game unfold the way it did, and every time that the Detroit Lions would turn the ball over, Houston would give it right back. And it was just so frustrating. It was so frustrating, Chuck, let me tell you. And, again, it's not the end of the world, but the Lions are really starting to run away with the North. When you win a game like that, where, as a matter of fact, let me pull it up here. Jared Goff ended up with 5 interceptions on the day.
Jared Goff.
You still end up winning that ball game. Listen, that's a tough ass team. You just figure out how to win the game. Period. Case closed. Stroud only turned it over twice, but still, it was like every chance they had to put a nail in the coffin for the Lions, that's when Stroud threw the pick. And it was so frustrating. I think they put the ball on the ground once too, but. Nonetheless, the Lions come away with that dub. Now, listen, I had to throw this out here. We changed Amon-Ra St. Brown's shirt here, and rather than Green Bay sucks, we just put Jared Goff sucks. At that point, it was 1 touchdown, 5 picks, and only 170 yards passing. He was 10 of 24. Now, do I think Jared Goff sucks? I don't. Last night, he sucked. He sucked bad. He was giving out gifts like it was already December, Tim. It was like Christmas out there. So.
Yeah, and the Texans didn't want to open those gifts. They didn't want to open the presents that he was given. I mean, the Texans should have won this game by 30 points the way it was going. And instead they scored 23 in the first half and decided that was enough and decided not to score anymore. I don't know. I see a lot of the same things we talk about with Jay Love. I see some of them with CJ Stroud, man. You'll see throws where he looks like an absolute Hall of Famer, and then you'll see throws where it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Definitely a second-year starter himself, just like Jordan, trying to find that rhythm. But I really thought Houston was gonna get that dub for us. But like I said, Clayton, we're not going to get any help from anyone in this division. I don't think we're going to get any help from anyone in the NFC when it comes to playoff seeding. It's going to have to be up to the Packers to win these ball games down the stretch here.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, listen, there was some other stuff going on in that Lions game, too. We just got to throw it up here. Ryan Fitzpatrick tweeted out, Lions leaving it all on the field tonight. As you can see, we had a number 41, not sure who that is, but had a little accident out there.
Oh, we're going to give him some.
Actually, he gave them.
He gave us.
So, if you guys don't.
You think God never farted?
If you guys don't know what I'm talking about on the podcast, you can't see the screen. Just go search Lions pants, all right, and you'll know exactly. There's your clue right there as to what happened. We'll go ahead and get it off the screen before everybody hacks up their coffee. So that's enough talking about division rivals and all that good stuff. Let's look at the updated standings as we head into Monday Night Football. We've got Miami at the LA Rams tonight. So LA sitting there in the number 9 spot at 4-4. So they got a chance to climb up with the Niners to be kind of in the hunt for the playoffs. But the NFC playoff hunt right now, as it sits, Lions are the 1 seed at 8-1. Eagles are the 2 seed at 7-2. Falcons are the 3 seed at 6-4. Cardinals are the 4 seed at 6-4. Vikings are the 5 seed at 7-2. Commanders are the 6th seed at 7-3. And then you've got the Green Bay Packers in the 7th seed at 6-3. Right behind them is the Niners at 5-4. Like we said, the Rams will play tonight. They're currently 4-4. The Bears 4-5. Seahawks 4-5. So, guys, here's the moral of the story. 9 wins is not going to get you in the playoffs in the NFC this year. Not going to happen. You're going to have to win a minimum of 10, which is typically, the old saying, win 10 and you're in. There's no coaches that say, hey, we win 9, we can get in this thing. It's always win 10 and you're in. Since you added that extra game, I feel like it's 11. The number may be 11 here in the NFC, Tim. It's a lot of fun to see all these teams kind of competing here, man. You talk about a real competitive conference right now. The National Football Conference is it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Certainly the most fun to watch, I think, of the two conferences. And, yeah, man, it's going to be win or go home down the stretch here.
Right.
I mean, you look at the Packers right now. We got to win coming off this bye week just to stay in 3rd place in the division. Like, we cannot give up any ground. We cannot afford another divisional loss when you look at how they break down these, these playoff scenarios when you have tiebreakers and things like that. And again, I'm looking more to that loss column than I am, to the wins. I think you're absolutely right. You got to have 10 or 11 wins minimum to even be in the mix. But really, you're looking at some of these teams that you're, like the Rams, we're hoping they pick up their 5th loss tonight, and obviously San Francisco got it done. What a gritty game from them just to go out there and get that win. So it's going to be a battle down the stretch. And I fully anticipate that those teams up there at the top of the standings will probably hang around there the rest of the year. It's going to be those 4, 5, 6, and 7 spots that you're going to see a lot of movement, I think, down the stretch.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, you're kind of controlling your own destiny here. You're going to end up playing the 49ers here in a couple weeks. You've already beat the Rams. You took care of business there. You're going to play the Vikings again. You're going to play the Lions again. So that Vikings game, that's probably going to come down to, hey, whichever one of these teams win, they're both probably going to get in, but that's going to be a huge seeding game there for sure.
The scheduling committee knows exactly what they're doing.
He does, man.
Hey, look at that. 2 divisional games to close out your season. Yeah.
Yeah, no
the
doubt.
Suspense is exactly what they're looking for, and we're going to be in for a heck of a ride this year.
Yeah, and when you look at the remaining schedule here for the Packers, appreciate you swinging through, Daryl. Good to see you in here, buddy. So here's what we're looking at. You've got at the Bears, the 49ers at home, the Dolphins at home, at the Lions, at the Seahawks, Saints at home, at the Vikings, and then the Bears at Lambeau. So that Vikings game, week 17, man, mark your calendars. That's and it's going to be up there in the dome. Man, it's going to be really hot for that one unless something just goes crazy wrong here on the next few games for the Vikings. At the Lions there on December 5th, be another one. It's going to be primetime Thursday night. Here's what's crazy. You've got the Bears 1 o'clock kickoff this week. You've got the Niners 4:25 kickoff on week 12 there on November 24th. Then you got the Dolphins Thursday night, Lions Thursday night, Seahawks Sunday night, Saints Monday night. So you're going to have 4 primetime games coming up there right in a row. So the Packers are going to have an opportunity to come out and prove their worth, man, on national television and show the world what they're really about. So excited to see it. Give a shout out to Jake G126. Says, good morning, folks. Looking forward to catching more shows in the next few weeks while I recover from minor surgery. Hey, man, glad to hear it's minor, Jake. Quick recovery, and thank you for making us a part of that healing process, man. I don't know if I would do that, but we appreciate you. This show sucks, and it'll probably slow your healing down, but thank you for hanging out with us, man, for sure. All right, let's see what else we got here real quick. I think we covered everything that I had just in the show notes. So, Tim, something else I wanted to hit on here, man. You keep an eye on the chat if you see anything in there that you want to mark, and kind of if you guys got any questions, anything like that, we can maybe throw up here on the show. I wanted to touch on some QB statistics here real quick, and specifically the turnover-worthy play percentage, okay? Now, this is as large as I can make it here on the screen, but I'll just read it off to you guys and gals. What we did was we did a minimum of 20 dropbacks because there was a few players that had like 10 dropbacks, something like that. And turnover-worthy play is exactly what it sounds like, guys. It's basically, you'll get an interception. Let's say you throw a pass, hits a receiver in the chest, ball flies up in the air, they pick it off. That's not going to be considered a turnover-worthy play, right? And it really it boils it down to what were the mistakes that were made by the quarterback. And I really, really appreciate and enjoy this statistic. I didn't expect to see Malik at the top, but this is wild. Now, keep in mind, he's only had 53 dropbacks, but Malik Willis leads the league in turnover-worthy play percentage at 0. It's him, Jake Haener, Tim Boyle, Marcus Mariota. Obviously, all 4 of those quarterbacks are backups. So you can kind of throw it out if you want to. I completely understand that. But the fact that he has had 53 dropbacks and 39 attempts and not have one single turnover-worthy play is really, really impressive. But as you get into the quarterbacks that are actually playing significant snaps, like, for example, Lamar Jackson probably leading the MVP race now that Jared Goff decided to throw 75 picks in one game. 1.4% turnover-worthy play. Look at Russell Wilson, 1.5% turnover-worthy play. You knew he was going to protect the football. Bo Nix, the rookie, 1.6%. Jaden Daniels, the rookie, 1.6%. Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, all at 1.7%. Then you've got Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa at 2%. C.J. Stroud and Patrick Mahomes at 2.1%. Derek Carr, 2.2. Geno Smith at 2.3. You've got Daniel Jones and Cooper Rush at 2.4. Now, listen, people who see Daniel Jones go, whoa, Clayton, he's not a good quarterback. Yeah, we're not saying this proves they are or are not a good quarterback. It's just simply taking the turnover aspect of their game and quantifying it in terms of, hey, was it their mistake or not, right? You can be a bad quarterback by taking too many sacks. Go watch Caleb Williams' tape. Caleb Williams isn't just turning the ball over like crazy, but he's taking sack after sack after sack rather than getting to the second read or just throwing the ball away. And that's something that Daniel Jones has struggled with as well. Cooper Rush, haven't played many snaps, obviously only 39 dropbacks, but 2.4%. There's Caleb Williams at 2.6%. But look at the grades. 61.1 PFF grade as it sits right now. His passer grade is 59.2. Fumble grade, he's done a pretty good job protecting the football from fumbles. That was a big issue coming out of college, so that's definitely a plus for the Chicago Bears in that regard. His running grade is 70.2. That's been the strength of his game this year. Brock Purdy, 2.6. Justin Herbert, 2.6. Mason Rudolph, 2.6. Justin Fields, 2.8. It's wild to see him putting up decent numbers. Jacoby Brissett at 3. Gardner Minshew, Jared Goff, Aiden O'Connell, each at 3.3%. Now, I don't think this is updated this morning. I could be wrong. So Jared Goff's will probably go up. I can't imagine they had time to update that. Trevor Lawrence at 3.4%. Josh Allen and Jordan Love both at 3.7%. Right behind him, you got like Joe Flacco, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, who many people think he's having an excellent year, 3.9% turnover-worthy play percentage. So just to kind of look at some of those quarterbacks that most people say, hey, man, these are solid top 10 quarterbacks, like Kirk Cousins, 4.1%, Jalen Hurts, 4.4%, Matt Stafford, 4.5%, Dak Prescott, 4.7%. So the reason I wanted to point this out, it's not a great number, don't get me wrong. Jordan Love's 3.7%, right? He's tied for 30th in the league right now. But when you look at some of the other quarterbacks that are underneath him that other people would say Baker Mayfield's having a great year, right? Now he is throwing a lot of interceptions just like J Love. This isn't like it's not to a point where it's not fixable, is what I'm saying. The interception total seems a lot worse than it actually is. It's just the pick sixes and the time in which you're throwing those, like Tom Brady was pointing out on the telecast last week. Situational football is absolutely huge. Bill Belichick had that drilled into Tom Brady's mind his entire career. That's the one aspect that I see with Jordan Love's game. You gotta improve that, and you gotta improve the accuracy, no doubt about it. So you get those two things buttoned up, I think the sky's the limit for Jordan Love. But Tim, what do you think about these numbers? We can scroll up, down, whichever way you want to look here. Pretty interesting to see the actual turnover-worthy play percentage.
It is, and I think you see, you look at some of these quarterbacks on here, like you said, you got some big names towards the middle and bottom of the list, and you look at the attempts and you look at guys that are willing to thread the needle, and that's why you're going to see, it's not always, not hitting your reads or, patting the ball like we talked about with Caleb. Sometimes it's just you're out there trying to, you can call it hero ball if you want, but a quarterback's job is to go out there and try and get first downs, try and win the game. So there's a common denominator here when you see some of these, guys that are top tier quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts at 39. That guy is going to, he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks as a passer, but he is going to put the ball in risky situations because, high risk, high reward sometimes when you're able to, drop it in between coverage or, thread the needle, so to speak. So, yeah, you might see a little bit more turnover-worthy plays there. We saw that last night with Jared Goff, right? Like we talked about. A lot of those picks came on shot plays, which was kind of weird. We haven't seen Detroit really airing it out in the last couple of weeks. That must have been part of their game plan last night to try and take shots. We did see a lot of single high coverage out of the Texans. That could explain why. So you got to just look at it, from both sides of the story here. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is 9th. He's doing Aaron Rodgers things, right? Protecting the football, but they're not winning ball games. So kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, and when you look at the actual passing grade from PFF, Lamar Jackson at the top, 91.2. You start to you dig through different analytics, and then, of course, you watch the game, you turn on the tape, and you can't come away not thinking that Lamar Jackson is the NFL MVP as we sit here just about to wrap up Week 10. Right, so Aaron Rodgers currently is sitting in the number 9 spot. Jaden Daniels, rookie, in the 4th spot at 83.7. Really, really impressive there. Again, that 29 dropbacks from Marcus Mariota. He's done what he's been asked to do in Washington. But, again, minimal snaps there. Joe Burrow, 89.8, been playing pretty good football. Let's see exactly where our boy Jordan Love comes in. So we were just showing you he was 30th in the league in turnover-worthy play percentage. When it comes to actual passing grade, he's a 71.5. He's actually 19th. So a little bit closer to the middle of the pack. Need a strong second half from Jordan Love. The Packers are going to go on a playoff run. No two ways about it. But going to be really interesting to see how it all finishes up. Anything else you want to hit here before we move on to?
No, I think we covered it.
All right. Good deal, man. So one of the things we wanted to cover the last 2 episodes and the time got away from us, we wanted to kind of take a quick look at the team rankings across the league and more specifically around the Green Bay Packers. What have they done well? What have they done not so well? We're going to be doing Chalk Talk this evening, the top offensive plays of the first half of the season. And then on Tuesday, we're going to be doing Chalk Talk, top defensive plays of the first half of the season. Just kind of give a quick refresher, kill a little time as we move through the bye week and into this Bears coverage. So starting Wednesday, we'll hit the injury report and we'll jump into everything else, Packers versus Bears, give you guys all the matchups and all that good stuff. So let's start it off here first, and let's start off a scoring offense. Let's go points per play. Who are the best offenses in the league right now? Hands down, it's Detroit at 0.518. So we'll just do the rankings. I won't bore you with all the numbers. Detroit number 1, Baltimore 2, Buffalo 3, Washington 4, Tampa 5, Cincinnati 6, Arizona 7th. San Francisco 49ers are now in the 8th spot, and the Green Bay Packers are currently sitting in the number 9 spot. So we've got a legit top 10 scoring offense in the league this year. Now, when you look at the last 3, you see the Packers have really struggled. They've dropped from 0.403 down to 0.368 in the last 3 games. What teams are hot right now? The Arizona Cardinals at 0.5, Detroit Lions at 0.62. They're putting up points. Obviously at will, other than when they're playing in the monsoon in Green Bay. Now, was it the defense? Was it the rain? Who knows? But those are your top scoring offenses so far this year. Now, let's see where Chicago ranks here since they are our next opponent. So they're 25th in the league at 0.304, and their last 3 games is a dismal 0.143. So if you were to sort by the last 3 games, Chicago is dead last. And that's what I was talking about, how they kind of had a spurt there where Caleb was playing pretty decent ball. But here lately, man, he is just absolute cheek. So you kind of like when you're catching Chicago here, but again, you can't overlook any opponent in the league. Now, when it comes to playing at home, the Green Bay Packers dropped significantly, right? I mean, they're probably in the bottom third, maybe closer to the halfway point, but they're definitely in the bottom half, I should say, of the league scoring at home. And then when you look at the away statistics, let's see where Chicago comes in, because obviously, we should look at the away for Green Bay. On the road, Green Bay is 5th in the league at .467. All right. So Green Bay on the road playing offense much, much better, Tim, than they do at home. Why? I have no idea. Maybe it's extra pressure. You're wanting to perform for the home crowd. That could be the case. But at home, once again, Chicago is, right in the middle of the pack, maybe in the upper part of the bottom half of the league. So everything is pointing towards the Packers kind of being like, hey, look, this is a get-right game. Can't overlook them. Again, I'm going to say it 1,000 times this week. You're going to get tired of hearing me say it. But I think as the lines opened yesterday too, Tim, the Packers are 6.5-point favorites on the road. But you guys know Vegas typically gives the home team 3. If this was at Lambeau, you'd be looking at an 8.5 to 9.5-point spread. What do you think about those scoring numbers there? Anything catch you off guard? Anything specific you want to see?
I think it tells us exactly what we know. The Packers have struggled at home these past couple of seasons, offensively, defensively sometimes too. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with home field advantage with the Packers, because sometimes you go to a game and you feel it and you feel like we're just going to boat race somebody, and then it doesn't happen. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's I don't know if it's the extra pressure, but maybe it's just the extra hype train and the extra, all the bells and whistles that come with playing at home. And I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you what, the fact that they're basically 5th, I think you said, in scoring on the road.
That's interesting.
That's a good thing, because we're primed to be playing all our playoff games on the road, the rate that we're going now. So, and you saw what we did to the Cowboys last year on the road. So, I guess that bodes well for us as we make a postseason run here, potentially. You almost get concerned if we ended up with a home playoff game at this point. So hopefully that turns around. But I think we're primed for an ass kicking of epic proportions down at Soldier Field on Sunday. And, I was talking to a couple of my friends yesterday, like you said, hey, when are they going to fire Eberflus? I don't know. Probably after they drop their second home game in a row to the Packers. Maybe a week from today, we'll get that press conference. So go Pack, go.
If the Packers can somehow win by, say, 15, 20 points, I think Eberflus is probably gone. I think you're right. I mean, that's always been the goal in the North before the Lions emerged as kind of the front runners, is in Chicago, you beat the Packers first and foremost, right? So we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. What you pointed out about playing well on the road, too, I immediately thought back to New Year's Eve last year in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right? Came out and just played on fire offensively. So,
yep. Thanksgiving against Detroit last year. Same thing.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah. Let's see here. Jake G126 in the chat says the main thing I'd like to see out of the bye is these damn penalties. Yeah. Amen, bro. Got to clean up those mental errors. Completely agree. It's something that I don't think it's the most important thing we need to clean up, but if you get either that or the turnovers under control, you're probably winning. You probably win at least one of those 3 games that you drop. There's no doubt in my mind. So got to get that cleaned up, definitely. Let's see here. iRock in the chat says, you hear a lot from players around the league how impactful it is playing at Lambeau. I think the history of our stadium brings that fight out of our opponents at home. That's a great point, iRock. Like, they all talk about what an honor it is to play at Lambeau, and you see them all trying to do Lambeau leaps and everything. And, I think there might be something to that. I really do. And
I wish it applied to our players.
Yeah. And that's
just saying that about our players.
Yeah. You got to get that back. You got to get that back for sure. So great comment.
I agree. That is a great point. I just think that we're at the point now, man. I don't think anyone's afraid to come to Lambeau Field, being brutally honest.
No, not
I don't think anybody fears coming here anymore. And we got to set the tone. We got to start winning these home games for sure.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to total yards. I know there's a lot of stat gurus that absolutely love this statistic. Okay. So this is yards per play. All right. And again, you can go You can go yards per game, but the only problem with that is if the defense plays really, really well and they continue to get you the ball back and they shut the other defense down, it can inflate those numbers. I like it on a per-play basis, even playing field across the entire league, right? So Baltimore is 1 at 7.1. San Francisco 49ers are 2 at 6.5. And the Green Bay Packers are actually third best in yards per play in the entire league at a 6.1. That is 2 spots, actually 1 spot ahead of Detroit there. So that's how they look on yards per play. And then Chicago is next to last at 4.3 yards per play. Now, when we go
still suck.
When we go to the away statistics, because obviously the Packers are going to be on the road, Green Bay is actually in the number 5 spot. They're averaging 6.4 yards per play of just total offense. And then at home, Chicago, let's see if they get any better or any worse. They are right in the same spot there at 4.2. So, again, those numbers would suggest Packers are primed to have a better performance this Sunday than Chicago. But Tim, what do you think about the yards per play, man? That's pretty cool seeing that in 2024 here the Packers are sitting in a number 3 spot and at 6.1. And in their last 3 games, they're sitting at 6.0. So right there around the same ballpark, too.
Yeah, and I love it. I think that, Matt's ability to at least attempt to lean on that run game a little bit more in recent memory is certainly helping. You see Josh Jacobs, I think he's averaging damn near 5 yards a carry at this point of the year, something like that. Don't quote me on it. And then, you've got why am I drawing a blank here? Oh, Emmanuel Wilson, who is also contributing and getting some chunk runs here and there. And then that opens things up for you to get that passing game moving. So we're where we need to be here when it comes to yards per play. And I agree with you. That's the metric. If you're going to look at any of these stats or spreadsheets, that's the one you want to look at is a per play basis. And as long as we're efficient and, running the system, running our offense, we should put a lot of yards on the board, a lot of tutters on the board against the Bears. So looking good for a road trip.
Yeah. And you have in 2023, they were 5.7 yards per play. The Packers were. So you've got a pretty good increase to this year, obviously jumping up to 6.1. So last year they finished the league 6th in the league in yards per play. So pretty cool to see. That's a significant increase, man. 0.4 of a point there for sure. All right, let's move it along to rushing offense. Let's go yards per rush attempt for the Packers here. Let's sort it out. 2024, Green Bay is 4th in the league, actually tied for 3rd with San Francisco at 5 yards per carry as a team. Obviously, that includes the jet sweeps. That includes the quarterback scrambles. That's everything. So seem to be moving the ball pretty damn well on the ground there at 5 yards a clip. Number 1 is Baltimore at 5.7. Derrick Henry just going absolutely off. Arizona at 5.2. Then you got San Fran and Green Bay along with Tampa Bay there tied for 3rd at 5. Now, last year, Green Bay was only 4.4. So you're seeing 0.6 of a yard per attempt. That's pretty significant. So for those people that seem to think the rushing game is worse this year without Aaron Jones and with Josh Jacobs, it's simply not true.
That's right.
We seem to have improved our running game while getting rid of an older player, as much as it hurts me to say that. Goody's cold-blooded. It seems like the right move, Tim.
Yeah, you have to be cold-blooded if you're going to be a GM. I mean, this is a grown man's league, right? And you have to be willing to make those tough decisions. Nobody's happy about it, right? It's just one of those things that hey, it's part of football. Look what we just had to do with Preston Smith. That was a little bit different of a situation, I guess, but really it's another example of, hey, it's kind of a win-win in that situation for us. An older player, veteran player, getting up there in age. We get a draft pick, we can make a move, get younger, get some of our younger guys more snaps. That was the whole point with moving on from Aaron Jones. You bring in another. I could see fans being really pissed off if we moved away from Aaron Jones and we didn't have Josh Jacobs here, and it was right. Let the kids play, and we got first and second year running backs galore. I could see the disappointment, but for Goody to go out there and crush it and bring in a premier back like Josh Jacobs really puts us in a great spot. And, I'd love to see Aaron Jones still carrying the ball for us, but I couldn't be happier with what we've gotten out of Josh Jacobs. Just a real, I don't know, just a gem of a running back, a complete running back. So in a lot of ways, we improved. I mean, he's very similar to Aaron Jones' skill set. When you look at it, there's just a few things different about their games. I think Josh Jacobs brings a little more of the thump when it's needed, but just a great rusher, and it's complementary football, like Matt LaFleur says. You can't have a killer passing game without a solid run game at the bare minimum, and I certainly think the Packers are a lot more than solid when it comes to running the football.
Yeah, I agree, man. Jake G126 says, we're going bear hunting, Tim. Get out the Elmer Fudd outfit. And then Mrs. Green says, Jake, he's already got the hat. I need to see this hat, Tim. Where's this hat at?
Oh, it's upstairs. I got a couple Elmer Fudd hats.
You talking about the ones with the ear flaps?
Yep.
Bro,
oh, yeah.
Money in the bank.
You gotta have those, man. It gets cold up here in the winter, man.
We're so damn old, Tim. What is wrong? Jake G126 says Aaron Jones took a really tough shot yesterday. Yeah, and it sounds like he came back in the game. I don't know if he got a shot or what, but it looked like he took a shot to the ribs. But Donovan Schilling says, look how many times Jones has been hurt, killing me in fantasy. Every time I play him, he gets hurt, shaking my head. And again, man, no disrespect to Aaron Jones. That dude is out there battling, and you're gonna have to drag him off the field. But that's like Tim said, it sucks. You get attached to players. And you think they're going to last forever. You want them to last forever. You don't think they're going to last forever. You want them to last forever. And unfortunately, that's just not how the league operates. And when they hit that wall, they hit that wall. And I understand what that is now. I used to look at, why is 30 that age for athletes? To me, I think it's 40 for the everyday average human being. So when I see a player play past 40, I'm like, this is unbelievable, because I'm telling you, it was right around when I'm 42 now. When I hit 40, man, I'm feeling good. You kidding me? This ain't nothing. About 6 months later, I'm like, what's wrong with my legs? My legs are getting tired today. Like, it's something that happens. So 30 is a real thing. And it's obviously catching up to Aaron. As Coach Lynn points out, Jones was carted off the field yesterday. It's crazy that, if I understood correctly, Tim, he came back after being carted off too. That is nuts.
I believe it. That, one thing that I don't think he's ever gotten a lot of credit for is his toughness. We talk about, he's injured and he's not yeah, well, things happen, but I don't think you're going to find a guy more tough than Aaron Jones, honestly, out there. I mean, there's a couple guys that come to mind, but I think he's been underrated when it comes to his toughness. But yeah, man, we'll see. I'm just happy because you look at Josh Jacobs, man, he's popped up on our injury report from time to time.
Oh, yeah.
But he's as durable as they come, man. The guy is he's one tough cookie as well. So we're happy.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn in the chat says Rodgers looked 50 yesterday. Listen, this is, I think, the end of the road for Rodgers. It sucks to see that era end. I remember the day that he was drafted. And I remember being extremely excited, going, this is the guy who's going to take over for Favre. This is awesome. It's cool. I'm to the age now where I've seen guys play their entire career. You know what I mean, Tim? Like, you see it start to finish and actually following the game closely. I know what the older crowd was talking about now, and they're like, man, you hate to see these guys. They go by so quick. And obviously Rodgers has been playing in the league what seems like 30 years. But Coach Lynn, I think old 12 or 8, going to soon to be retired 12 is just about to the end of the line, man. It sucks to see a player go out like that, but at the same time, kudos to Goody, right? He
get away from him too soon rather than too late, right?
Absolutely.
And there's a portion of the fan base that still thinks we got away from him too late. But
no, it's true. It's true.
And when you talk about age with players, to me, it's like, I'm not taking anything away from the Tom Brady's or the Aaron Rodgers, those guys. I mean, even Kirk Cousins is getting up there now in age too. I mean, it's one thing to play quarterback into your 40s. Let's be honest. It's another thing to play running back, defensive line, offensive line, some of these other positions. Look at Bobby Wagner playing middle linebacker well into his 30s and still doing it at a high level. That to me is just extremely impressive. But I think, to your point, like what you say about Aaron Rodgers, he kind of is. You know, I think about guys like Big Ben who retired a couple years ago. Aaron will be next. That's kind of that last of that era of quarterback play. That I don't want to say old school, but you know, those guys that were drafted kind of in the middle stages of that old era. And now we've seen how offenses have changed. I think that's part of the reason why Aaron maybe had a difficult time finding some success out there in New York, because they're trying to play 2010 style football, and doesn't work like that anymore on offense. You've got to be a little bit more dynamic. And I think it is. Father Time is finally caught up with old Aaron Charles Rodgers there. So we'll see. I just hope he doesn't get injured again before it's all said and done. You know, hopefully he can just kind of bow out gracefully here.
Yeah, for sure. For those of you listening on the pod, that's going to do it for hour 1. We'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.